Well, thank you very much. As I'm just about to start the reading of chapter 13 of Kasimo Expedition to Bolgatanga, I can see that there is a drizzly rain and there are cars you can hear around or passing by the road on the other side. But the beauty of Scotland is that just if you are listening very well, you can also hear the birds, chanting nice sweet tones. So this is chapter 13 of Kasimo Expedition to Bolgatanga, a scene of organized chaos. That's the title of the chapter. The journey continued more peacefully without the witch on the bus. We stopped at Navarango, where many of the passengers disembarked. I got a seat from this point and it made the journey a little more comfortable. As we got closer and closer to the big town, I began to feel pains and needles in my flesh. It was a nervous anticipation. I began to marvel when I noticed that the dirt track suddenly changed to a tarmac road and the journey became less bumpy. Maybe comfort and civilization is better than the life of purpose alone in the village, I thought, bewildered, poking my head through the broken windows. Beep, beep, beep. The bus driver honked his horn to welcome us to the big town. My eyes roamed from side to side, amazed by all the houses and people. Wow, Wanga, look, I said to the driver's mate. Look at the nice buildings on both sides of the road. They are all standing in straight lines. This is so different from the randomly built houses we have in the village. I wonder why people tie ropes from the long poles into their houses. Wanga, why are all those ropes attached to the long pole stretching into those houses over there? Is this the way people hang out their clothes in the big town? I asked, astonished, as the bus slowed down and pulled into Bolgatanga station, which was a scene of organized chaos as far as my bewildered eyes could see. I couldn't help thinking how silly it is to stretch ropes so high to hang clothes. There must be another reason why. If not, why is Wanga laughing at me? Wanga stood up next to me and was tickled, giggling to himself after noticing that I had no idea the ropes were electric wires, not for hanging clothes. Although I felt silly and naive, I also convinced myself that it wasn't my fault. Who on this earth can blame me for making such a wrong assumption, as we only use lamps, lanterns, sticks, and millet stems to light and see in the night back in the village. Until this day, I never knew that electricity would have to travel from wires connected together through poles and into people's homes. No one in school has ever mentioned the word electric pole to me before I came to the big town today. They say we live to learn something new every day. Seeing an electric pole in town is definitely a brand new discovery for me. As soon as the driver switched off the engine, the white Tata bus with its long blue stripes was quickly invaded by a flock of hungry market traders. They swarmed the bus, all shouting and pushing aggressively to make a sale. It was like watching a pack of hungry wolves or vultures doing a funeral dance in front of a dying elephant, and whilst doing so, fighting among themselves for control of the carcass. I convinced myself that these people were not there to welcome us to town as the people of Pulima will normally do to a stranger visiting my village for the first time. Standing restlessly and waiting to disembark from the bus, I noticed that, like the women in Pulima, the traders all carried large baskets on their heads full of things to sell: bread, donuts, biscuits, yam chips, fried plantain, and other exquisite delights. They stood on both sides of the bus, blaring at the top of their voices, competing aggressively with each other to sell their goods to me and the rest of the poor, defenseless passengers aboard the heavily pregnant bus. Half of me was eager to leave the boiling bus. The other half wished I could stay inside the bus and never leave, or even better, disappear like the wind and return to my calm and tranquil village. It was perhaps to do with the fact that I was slightly intimidated for the first time about the potential dangers as a newcomer in town. What if there are thieves among the genuine traders? I asked myself, tightening my already firm grip on the magic bag Uncle Ali gave me before I left the village this morning. I finally managed to convince myself to disembark. After all, I had defeated a snake beast a few hours ago. How hard could this really be? It was a nervous and tight squeeze to get out of the Tata bus. When I got down, I struggled to breathe in the blasting heat and the polluted air. I quickly convinced myself that the town air is rotten to taste compared to the fresh, natural air we breathe in the village. Being honest to myself, this side of the town life did not immediately impress me. It was not the kind of comfort and civilized way of life I expected of a big town. To the contrary, I feel the calm and slow-paced life of the village to be more suited to my body and soul and than this noisy, foggy, extremely accelerated pace of life. Maybe when I get to the big town center, I will see a better side of civility and comfort. I felt quite disgusted and disappointed, observing that wherever I looked, there was smoke coming from burning fires of cow skins, bus tires, heaps of rubbish, firewood from restaurants, and fumes coming from cars and lorries. Some of these vehicles, judging from the rust, must have reached their graceful retirement age at least a few decades ago, but were still being forced to work on like slave laborers, regardless of their obvious fatigue status. Smoke hung in the air, creating a fog above the town that swirled around everywhere. This much about the big town alone from the onset, and going through this experience today made me thankful that I grew up in the village. Maybe a city is far better than a big town. I tried to move on after convincing myself that I wasn't in town to hate things. There was a stampede of traders at the station as few buses seemed to have arrived at the same time. It was the middle of the afternoon and the sun was shining directly above my thumping head. As I swerved through the crowd to get out of the busy station, I heard a voice yelling at me from behind. I stopped and turned around, realizing that I was being followed by a trader carrying an overloaded basket on her head, desperate to sell me a loaf of bread. "Madam, I'm sorry, but I haven't come to Bolgatanga to buy bread." "If you are not here to buy bread, what other reason brought you to Bolgatanga today?" I'm here on a special birthday trip. What is your name? Asked the bread seller. I noticed she had a crying baby tied to her back with a yellow cloth. Kasimo, I said. Kasimo, listen to me, yeah? If you buy my bread, I will pray for your safe passage out of this station. I will pray in my baby's name for your safe return to your village. What if I don't buy your bread? Then you will be in okra soup. Do you know what that means? Trouble. If you refuse to buy this bread, I will go and tell my friends over there to come and get you. What do your friends do? Do they also sell breads like you? I asked, thinking perhaps I could run away from her whilst she is trying to call for their attention. Unfortunately for you, my friends don't sell bread like me. What do they sell? I asked, ready to take off and run as fast as I could to get out of this place. My friends have nothing to sell. They are here to take things from people like you. They are thieves and they are very good at their job. You will never make it out of this station safely unless you buy a loaf of bread from me. It is up to you to decide. That is it. That is, so Kasimo is moving from the village with no electricity. He's landing in the town and he's seeing all these electric poles. He's wondering what on earth is going. That's the kind of life I would have grown up in. So we're still following Kasimo's journey, and we don't know what has happened to him with the thieves and all that, but eventually he managed to find his uncle, Uncle Zach, who's a policeman, and he took him home, and his aunt Martha gave him a very good welcome to the big town and made some nice, lovely fufu and jollof rice so that he could have the options of what food he will eat. And he had his own plate for the first time because usually Kasimo will share a plate with about 10 other boys in the family. So now Kasimo has finished the journey and he's managed to return home the next day. So I'm just going to read you a wee bit of when he's arriving home, and obviously he's carried some new things from Bolgatanga, and so all the boys and girls in Puluma will see how they react on Kasimo's return home. Yes, so we are back in the village, and Kasimo is crowded by all the village children that have come. It's been, like Kasimo was not able to go the night before because of things that happened in the story. But he's back in the village 2 days later, and all of them are excited, shouting, and they're looking in his bags to see what he has brought, because that is part of the tradition. And so this is part of the conversation. This is the last chapter of and I'm not going to read it all, not to give the book away, but this is how it goes. Salifu, look, this is Coca-Cola. Aunt Martha gave it to me to share with everyone in the village. What is it? Why is it so dark? Is it a type of medicine? Asked one of the naive village children, sounding rather suspicious. I don't like the way it looks. Maybe it is poison, said another boy, collecting the bottle to examine. Stupid village boys, Uncle Ali said, laughing. Who told you Coca-Cola is poisonous? This is the most popular product of the United States of America. It is the best drink in the whole wide world. I used to drink Coca-Cola like water in Abidjan every day. Over there, they call it Juice de Paradis. Uncle Ali, what is Juice de Paradis? Is that French? word? I asked. Yes, it is French. It means the juice of paradise. Oh, I can't wait to taste the juice of paradise. Me too, said one little girl, about 3 years old. We all laughed at her jumping up and down as if it was her birthday party. After sharing and munching all the sweets among ourselves and scoffing the birthday cake, we all line up in front of my grandma Alima's house to get our first taste of paradise juice ever in the village. It was very nerve-wracking moment, as no child in Puluma was in the mood to miss out their fair share of this extremely rare pleasure of taste, especially after Uncle Ali called it paradise juice. Boys and girls, I am sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately, as you can all see, this little bottle of Coca-Cola is clearly not enough for everyone in the village to share. Uncle Ali, what do you want us to do then? Well, I suggest that only the big boys and girls of Kasimo's age should drink the Coke, Uncle Ali recommended, after pouring half a cup for himself. I think Uncle Ali is right. Yes, only the big boys and of Kasimo's age drink the Coke, Salfo agreed, holding the bottle in his hand. But that is not fair. How can only boys drink it and leave out all the girls in the village? I also want to taste paradise juice today. This is my brother's birthday party. My sister Rukaya contested. As my aunt Martha predicted, all the children in Puluma suddenly wanted a share of the Coke. Who on this earth would like to miss the opportunity to taste something from paradise? I didn't know what to make of this fuss. Maybe the Coke tastes better than the Fanta I drank with my dinner last night in Bolgatanga. I don't know the truth, and I can't wait to find out. The only problem, I suppose, is that there simply isn't enough Coke in the one bottle to share with every child in the village. What is the fairest way to share something when there is not enough of it to go around? I wonder, thinking, surely there must be a magic solution somewhere to be found. Hold on, everybody, listen to my clever idea, said Salifu, and his words immediately led to a stony silence in the village. I've got a good idea. We have to do multiplication first before we do divisions. That is what Teacher Moses taught us in school. Yes, I believe I have the perfect solution to the problem. We have to find a way to multiply the limited amount of what we have before we can share it. As he spoke, Salifu departed from the crowd, walking frantically into Grandma's alleyways, Grandma's medicine room. My friend Salifu is a bit like Anansi the spider, who always seems to come out with an amazing answer to every question we ask him in the village. Sometimes the answers are clever and amazing, but other times they can be wild and stupid ideas. We all stood and stared in anticipation as he came out of the medicine room with a bucket in his hand. A whole bucket! And the bucket was full of a bucket in his hand. Salifu, what is the matter with you? I mean, what on earth are you trying to do with a whole bucket of water? Kasimo, please be patient with me. Let me show you the power of good logic. I am being patient, but just want to know what you want to do with this bucket of water. A full bucket Salvo brought from Grandma's room. Just you wait and see. I am not going to throw it away, am I? I'm going to pour the bottle of Coca-Cola into the bucket of water and use the ladle to stir it. That is the only way we can all enjoy a little taste of paradise juice in Puluma today. Any other way will be unfair and lead to tears. Yee-haw! Yay! All the little children scream, jumping up and down in ecstasy and in reaction to the catchy tune of the xylophone beat now being played by Janduru Navailurue, the village musician who Grandma Alima had invited to play music for my special birthday party in her absence. I knew it wasn't a good idea to throw one bottle of Coke into a whole bucket of water just to be able to share it with everyone in the village. But judging from the reaction of the cheering crowd, I knew my voice was a minority voice. Very much, boys and girls. I hope that you have enjoyed Kasimo's story, and you know, the birthday party is still going on, and as you would imagine, Salufu won the day. So we're gonna open the Coca-Cola, and then we're gonna pour it into the bucket of water, as you can see. And obviously in the village, it's a whole full bucket of water, and all the children are all excited seeing this water getting brown and brown and brown and brown. Wow, they can't wait to taste it now. So, and then you will normally just put a big spoon like this, you know, and then you stir it just to make sure that everybody get the same proportion, you know, so that nobody's cheating. There's no cheating involved. So, and then people will line up, and then the sharer on this case is Rafiki, Rafiki. He will put one spoonful, another spoonful, and a lovely child will take her shares, and then she will run away this way. She's got her biscuits and everything, and that is it. So that's one of the reading challenge, the challenges on this Kasimo story. I better test it so that I can say it's Coca-Cola still. It doesn't exactly taste like Coca-Cola. I'm sure it's over diluted, but you know, that's the situation in the village, and they are all still excited about it. You can imagine. So I have two reading challenges, Silly Squad reading challenges for you. One is to find a nice chill Coca-Cola during dinner, and you can try to share it with the family, the whole family. I don't know whether you're going to dilute it or whatever you're going to do, but you can send your photos to the Silly Squad library challenges. You know, they are looking, the information is there. So whatever, if you can manage as a child to share one Coca-Cola for all the people in your family, you would have succeeded in part of the challenge. We want to see your photographs and tell us how it tastes. Are you adding water or are you adding something else? We will need to know all the secrets. The other Silly Squad reading challenge as part of this Kasimo story is that it's simple. Well, it's even more complicated, but it's fun. So it's carrying buckets of water, which a lot of the children carry every day in Africa. And when I was a little boy, that's something that I did nearly every day. You will carry the bucket, and you normally put a little bit cloth between your head and the bucket. And if it is full, the other children that you've been to the river will help you to put it on your head. So that's another reading challenge, Silly Squad reading challenge. We want to see how many of you will be able to carry a half bucket of water on your head and without touching it with your hand. How long can you do this? So this is another silly squad challenge which you have to do and tell us, have you managed? Is it 10 seconds? I don't think I'm managing 10 seconds. I'm only managing a few seconds. And could I walk with it? Probably if it was fuller, it might be easier. But if I walk with it, I could maybe succeed. 1, 2, I'm falling on my xylophone, and I'm still going. Yay! So how long can you carry a bucket on your head and walk from one place to the other without touching it? So do your silly squad challenge, and then let us have all your photographs and your feedback. It's all very, very, very welcome. The silly squad. And please don't forget that your libraries, your local libraries might be closed due to coronavirus and all those kind of things. But please, the spirit of humanity is still alive. You know, the silly squad librarians are waiting for you to send them some challenges also. They are not the only ones sending you challenges. You can send them your challenges. You can ask them any questions. You can send them emails. They are happy to hear from you. The silly squad challenge. They are everywhere in Scotland. You can check your local library and you can have information. I hope that you have enjoyed the story of Kasimo and my contribution to the Silly Squad and Summer Reading Challenge 2020. I hope you have some fun and learn something from it. We want to see your photos of how you shared your Coca-Cola, 1 liter of Coca-Cola with the whole family, and then we need to see the photographs, or if you've carried a bucket of water on your head. First of all, how long were you able to carry it without touching it? Secondly, how were you able to move without touching the bucket? Respect. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you. Thank you, Scotland. Thank you very much. Thank you. Respect.